You're doing hoe activities with hoe tendencies. Hoes are your friends, hoes are your enemies. With hoe energy to do what you do, blue what you blue, screw what you screw. Y'all professional like DJ Clue, pulling on my coattail. And why you think you take a hoe to a hotel? Hotel everybody, even the mayor. Reach up in the sky for the hoe's own layer. Come on, player, once a hoe always. And hoes never close, 'cause they open like always. And here's a hoe cake for your whole hoe crew. And everybody wants some, 'cause hoes gotta eat too. Hoe, use a hoe. Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the Tap 2 podcast. My name is Steven, and you can find me on Twitter at Tap 2 Podcast, and you can also find me you can email me at tap2productions@gmail.com. You know what? I just recorded 7 minutes of audio. I went on this big tangent about action figures. I just recorded 7 minutes, and I didn't have record pressed, and that makes me feel very stupid. Originally, I had planned on doing this big thing about Star Trek and Star Wars, which is my favorite. Which one do I like more? Coming to the conclusion probably that I like both of them equally in their own way. I may go through that one day, but I seem to talk about Star Wars a heck of a lot. And if you've listened to this, the previous 5 episodes, you're probably tired of hearing me talk about Star Wars. But, daggone, you know what? I've never done that before, and I feel very stupid, and I feel like I've wasted a lot of time. And I don't like that feeling. That's very annoying. And, oh, dang, man. You know what? I've actually only got a few minutes left to be able to record, so you're probably going to hear a very staunch break in the podcast, because I'm going to record as long as I can, because I've got to go do something, and here in about 15 minutes, I've got to go do something. So you're going to hear a break in the podcast, but I will come back and finish the second half of this podcast, and it will be posted tonight on Wednesday, even though it's really pushing deadline. I seem to do that a lot with deadlines. Coming to work either right on time or like a minute late, or I'm just usually late to most things. But anyway, I tell you, I just cannot get over the fact that I just recorded what I felt was some pretty good audio. I didn't actually record it. That's the problem. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's talk about action figures. And I love action figures. My wife got me these Ninja Turtles. They're mini mates. Do you guys know those? I've seen them around. They make a lot of cool ones. They got a bunch of different licensed properties, but they do some really cool work with the Ninja Turtles line. The ones that she got me were they look like little Lego type men, but these are like just imagine the size of Legos. They each have like 11 points of articulation on them. Just imagine a Lego with like 11 points of articulation. It's pretty crazy. Maybe I'm overshooting it. It's like 7 or 9. But it might be 11. Anyway, they come in a package of 4. They each have weapons. They're each painted to look like they're hand drawn in the original Eastman and Laird art style. They look really cool. Got them for Father's Day, and the really cool thing about them is I was able to nerd out on my wife about why they had red bandanas. She said she got them for me, and I was looking at them. She's like, "Oh, I'm glad you like them, but I don't know why they all have red bandanas. You can't tell which one's which." So I had to tell her that, oh, that's great that they have red bandanas because it's in the original comic book. They had red bandanas. It wasn't until the cartoon that they got different colored bandanas, and you have to look at the weapon next to each one of them to see which Ninja Turtle is which, because they didn't really have any defining characteristics other than their personalities. And in the original comic book, man, they had some all were pretty dark personalities. I mean, they had different personalities, but they were all much more serious than they were in the cartoon or even in the current series of Ninja Turtle stuff. But anyway, I got those, and I've been collecting a lot. If I see a Legend of Zelda action figure, which you don't see a lot of, I've got several recently. Honest to goodness, I've got several really good ones from Kmart. Just not even like full 6 or 10 inch action figures, just like the little ones that are on a small card in a little, pretty much a one of those. The packaging is a cube, a looking thing where you can see the sides, the front, top, and bottom. And if it has anything to do with the Wind Waker, I've been all over it. I don't know how many little. I've got this. You're okay. Don't think this is weird when I ask this question. I'm a 30-year-old man, but this was like 26 years ago. Do you guys remember Polly Pockets? Polly Pocket was this little girl's play set, basically, with it was a necklace, usually in the shape of a heart. It was like a locket. So, oh, this is my good friend Matt Johnson, and so we're going to answer that. Hello, Matt Johnson.
Sure.
Nothing much. Hey, just so you know, we are recording this because I got some questions to ask you.
Recording.
You're recording. We're recording for the podcast. What's up?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Nothing, driving home.
Driving home? Okay, well, don't wreck and die, because that'll be on the podcast.
That would be hilarious.
Well, I'll definitely put it out if it happens as a memory to you. So I was just in the middle of recording some stuff. I've got a little bit of time left to talk. Are you got a good signal all the way home?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. Well, let's me and you talk about whatever you want to talk about. I got 2 topics for you. I got Star Wars lore, and I've got action figures. I was talking about action figures to myself a minute ago, but you want to talk about Star Wars?
Yeah. What do you have in mind?
Okay. Well, on ScreenRant.com, I was looking up the 27 canonical facts that you might not know about Star Wars. So they took all the stuff from the new EU and pretty much boiled it down into 27 things that were major events that were not in the 7 movies. So, like, a bunch of stuff I didn't know that they, especially it was weird. I thought that they've thrown this into the expanded universe. Like, Vader and Luke fought before Episode 5.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, Vader and
Why?
Luke. Okay. So yeah, I thought it was a little odd, and I think they've got to do that. You got to give them benefit of the doubt, I guess, if you're watching Episode 5 and it looks like they've never fought before, in my opinion. But apparently, Luke is on this planet doing a scouting mission for. He's doing a scouting mission for the Rebel Alliance, and he runs into Vader. Like, Vader shows up, and he runs into Vader. They fight, and Vader don't know who he is, and Luke's like, "Hey, you totally killed my dad," and he's like, "I don't know who your dad was." And then Luke gets away, and then Vader Vader's first job for Boba Fett was actually to track down who Luke was, figure out who Luke was. Boba Fett comes back with the last name Skywalker, and then Vader figures out, hey, I have a son. But if you think about it,
Okay.
if you think about it, it works.
Does it tie in with what's his name, Star Killer or The Force Unleashed?
The Force Unleashed. I don't know if that's like canon anymore. They said what was the date? The cutoff date was like anything after 2014 was like Star Wars Legend, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if the Force Unleashed is going to be part of it, but if you get a chance, check that out on Screen Rant. It's some really cool stuff. They talk about how Ahsoka pretty much was a huge deal in forming the Rebel Alliance, and about her whole deal. I know you explained to me once because you watched the Clone Wars and I didn't, about her downfall and all that, but they kept that in there since the Clone Wars is canon. And I don't know, there's some cool stuff on there. Luke, what's that?
I enjoyed the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I think it had a really good story.
Yeah, what I want is a list of story episodes, because I don't care so much for the filler, but I want like a list of story episodes so I can actually watch it.
I might look it up for you.
Please do. Please do. We'll put it on the we'll put the list on the podcast. So what you got as far as any Star Wars knowledge you want to lay down?
That could be true. I mean, him fighting Vader first.
Yeah.
I guess if all the other, I kind of fits in with the old expanded universe too, with Mara Jade and all that.
Oh yeah, you know about her. I don't know a thing about her except that her and Luke got married eventually, and she was an assassin for Vader.
Yeah. She was like, I guess if you would say Darth Vader was the Emperor's right hand, she would have been the left.
How do you mean?
The Emperor sent her to do the jobs that maybe Vader would screw up.
Really? So she was that awesome?
Oh, she wasn't that, she wasn't, she had a little connection to the Force. She didn't actually learn how to use her, a lot of Force until after her and Luke hooked up, and he kind of taught her.
Did she have a lightsaber?
Yeah, she does. But she actually, she's more of a spy.
Oh, kind of like the Inquisitors.
Yeah, like Vader would be the face of terror, or Mara Jade would be the one like in the shadows.
Okay.
That you don't know about.
Okay, she's the one that's really going to kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. How did her and Luke end up like getting together? Like, I'm assuming it was they just kept running into each other and fell in love.
Yeah, actually, in episode 7, she was in Jabba's palace.
What?
Yeah.
In 7?
Yeah. I don't know if they actually show her in the film, but in the expanded universe, she was actually in the palace.
Wait a minute.
At the time.
Are we talking about episode 6?
6 is what I meant.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was like, did they go to Jabba's palace in 7?
No, 6.
No, you had me confused for a second. I was about to believe you. No, episode, so in...
She was actually, at the time, the Emperor had her, trailing Luke to make sure Vader did something about it.
Really? Because he knew he was his son.
Yeah. He didn't trust Vader.
Oh well, he shouldn't have trusted Vader. Hey, what was your take on the whole? So Vader offers Luke unlimited power, and he can rule the galaxy alongside him. They can kill the Emperor. Blah blah blah. The whole Sith thing, as you know, it's a standard Sith stuff. But then Vader's like, you should kill the Emperor. You're going to anyway. He's seen it. And then the Emperor acts like he wants him to kill him, and that whole situation. Was Vader ever? I always wondered if Vader ever really was going to betray the Emperor, or if the Emperor wanted it to play out like that all along.
I Vader would eventually portray the Emperor, and yeah, he definitely would.
Yeah,
That's part of being a Sith. Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, that was just, kind of a big duh thing, but it felt like the Emperor was controlling the betrayal to me. Even as a kid, I always thought it was weird because in episode 5 it seemed like he was being sneaky.
Yeah, it does seem like that, no?
Yeah, it seemed like he was being sneaky, and then episode 6 rolls around and the Emperor's all like, "Oh yeah, I knew this was going to happen. Yeah, try to kill me. It's cool." So
maybe
I don't know.
Maybe the Emperor didn't think Luke would actually kill him.
Yeah.
Maybe he was planning on replacing Vader.
Man, how many apprentices would that have made him?
A lot.
A lot of apprentices. I never thought of that. He was just going for, well, that's what always struck me as weird, because even though, that's the natural thing for the Sith to do, it just seemed like Sidious was just so selfish and self-righteous that there's no way he would have just accepted it. He wouldn't have sacrificed himself. No. He wouldn't have allowed it to happen.
No.
Exactly.
None of the Sith history in the expanded universe, it was all self-centered. Every one of them.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He always seemed like, even more so to me, like you've read the Darth Bane books, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know I know it's not technically canon anymore, but even that series, like, Bane knew stuff was coming, and eventually he got, killed and all that, and kept transferring bodies, but eventually Darth Bane got wiped out. But like, it always just felt like to me the Emperor wasn't even going to let that stop him. Like somehow the Emperor was going to always have power. So that makes sense that he would have just been like, screw Vader, I got his son. He's younger. He's probably more stronger in the Force.
Yeah, that's how I see it. I think he was just going to cast Vader aside.
Yeah.
Or see who's the strongest.
Yeah.
Whoever won, you got the job.
So he's pretty much Heath Ledger's Joker, and throws a pool cue to him.
Yeah.
I got you.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Because no. The Emperor's not going to sacrifice himself.
No way.
Palpatine's way too self-centered.
Yeah. Oh man. Let me see. There's another thing. Luke, between this one's even more interesting to me, I think. The Death Star is basically a giant lightsaber. Did you know that?
I guess it would be, yeah.
Yeah, like it uses the same crystals. It starts with a K, I think. Yeah, it uses the same crystals to focus all that stuff. And what?
That makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. And so
that makes more sense than the episode 7's Death Star.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say this one bad thing about episode 7. I just couldn't get past it. I still can't get past it. They kept calling the star that they were using as fuel, and every star they would call it, they call it the sun. And that made me so upset, because it's not a sun. Planet Earth orbits the sun, and all other stars are named other things. Why would they name it the sun? They're not called the sun. That bugged the life out of me. It took me out of it completely every time they'd say it. Love that movie.
They should have said the actual name of the star, whatever they call it.
Yeah, why wouldn't they do that?
Alpha Centauri 1 or something like that.
Yes. Please. I mean, why wouldn't they? That I would love to, because that movie was written by nerds, it was read by nerds, it was acted out by a lot of nerds. There's no way somebody didn't bring that up.
Maybe Disney want to keep it simple.
I guess. I guess they just didn't have faith in people's knowledge of astronomy. I guess. Yeah. So, man, I've actually got to go, and I've got to go. I've got to stop recording. But
All
thank
right.
you for calling me back, and
No problem.
we'll pick this up again later, sometime else. Okay.
Yeah, just give me a call.
All right. We'll talk to you later, Matt.
All right, see you.
Bye.
And thanks for that call, Matt. And yeah, so as it turns out, I totally talked about Star Wars on this episode. Didn't intend to. In fact, I intended on not talking about Star Wars at all. But you know what? It's a happy accident. Uh, I did not expect Matt to call, but I'm glad he did because we got to talk about Star Wars. And a day is not a good day until you've talked a little bit about Star Wars theory. And you should totally check out the article from Screen Rant. I have no idea how old it is. I was just looking up some stuff for this episode and ran across it. It's 27 major Star Wars events that happened outside of the movies. So they're completely canon with the entire series, but they didn't happen in the movies. But I think honestly, when you watch that, when you read stuff like that, or you watch the Clone Wars, or you read some of the books, or the comic books, or just anything that's official, honestly, eh, with a lot of stuff, it's not this way because it waters down the lore. But with Star Wars, uh, when it was, love him or hate him, when it was George Lucas's, it was great. And when now that it's Disney's, they're really taking big steps, it looks like, to keep the lore great too. They could just throw out a crappy random cartoon about the Ewoks if they wanted to, and Lord forbid they do that. You know, I hate the Ewoks. I'm sorry, I hate the Ewoks worse than freaking Jar Jar Binks. At least Jar Jar ended up doing something. I didn't like Jar Jar, but at least he ended up doing something. Uh, I hate the Ewoks so bad. They were pointless. Anyway, I could rant about the Ewoks, but let me finish my story. Okay, so Polly Pocket, it was a thing. It was a little locket that a girl would wear around her neck. You open up the locket. It was kind of a thick locket. You open up the locket, and it's like a little slide. It's basically a tiny park for your teeny tiny Polly Pocket to fit in. And it was this. Uh, Imagine a piece of long grain rice, tall, three pieces of long grain rice wide. That was your little character that you played with, and it was great. You know, if you, I suppose their market was to bored kids without a Game Boy at the time, but Polly Pocket, that's what it was. So, fast forward to a few weeks ago, and find a little a play set, an Outset Island play set, which really just consisted of a hut, a beach, and a small version, a Polly Pocket sized Wind Waker Link. And it was great. I haven't opened it, of course. It's just hanging on my wall with a keyblade and a master sword, surrounded by few hundred other action figures and random things like that. But it looks great. I've got a Skull Kid that I found at Walmart. It's that World of Nintendo series stuff. Actually, both of those things are World of Nintendo series, and I'm loving it. Where you can find this stuff anywhere now. Usually it's the random crap they try to get you by sitting it there at the register at Walmart. It's the kind of stuff that a 5-year-old would scream for, but I pick up and purchase. Well, anyway, just wanted to round out this episode with with some random stuff, and I'm getting some text messages here. Hope you didn't hear those too loudly. I'm sure you did, though. I just wanted to round out this episode saying, of course, you can always catch me every Wednesday. If you have any suggestions, you can comment below on the YouTube on a YouTube post. You can you can hit me up on Twitter at Tap2Podcast. And of course, you can always email me at tap2productions@gmail.com. Or you could write a letter in your own blood, seal it in an envelope made out of duck feathers, stand out in a rainstorm holding a metal bat. The lightning will strike the bat, evaporate the duck feathers, and you can send me a letter that way too. So maybe I'm a wizard, maybe I'm not. Whatever you want. Actually, I totally stole that type of thing from Hello from the Magic Tavern. That's the kind of thing that Usador the Blue Wizard would say, and I just think that is such a funny show. Um, every single week, I look forward to that. I look forward to that podcast being posted, and that's the kind of podcast that I'd like to produce for you people. Right now it's just me talking to myself, literally in the pantry of my home. I set a kitchen chair in the pantry because it's the quietest and most acoustically sound room in my house. Put on my headphones, move some cans out of the way, and set up my podcast gear, quote unquote, which is my phone. I edit all this from my phone. I'm sure you've noticed on the video it says made with KindMaster. It is amazing what you can do with your phone now. It's crazy. Should we even call them phones anymore? I don't think I could have done this with the telephone that is in my mom's kitchen. So anyway, I just want to make this a fun podcast to listen to. Obviously, I'm not looking to make money off this. I just want to make some entertainment for you all. So whenever I say hit me up with some comments, I really mean it. Anybody that's listening, throw us a few comments out there. What you do, what you don't want to hear. If there's a segment that you just absolutely hate, tell me. If there's a segment that you absolutely love or something that you feel like I should do, besides go die or something like that, I'm not going to do any of those suggestions, but, just throw anything out there that you can think of. Just remember that I'm not excited about too many video games until Zelda comes out. So, keep that in mind. I won't be buying probably too many games unless something awesome comes out that I just ain't thinking of right now. But you all have a great day, and insert catchphrase here.